It's been a bit of a weekend for our Prime Minister on the world stage, and the front pages are picking up on this. It's a very interesting situation. So here's the Telegraph. Starmer, although we're out of the EU, this seems to be water under the bridge because we now need to basically lead in Europe along with the French. The Germans, they can have an army, but they're basically not allowed to move it anywhere. So it is Britain, France now backing up Zelenskyy after the whole horror show from the Oval Office on Friday. The Prime Minister was hosting many European leaders in London to discuss Ukraine. And then Zelenskyy went to see that there are the world leaders, or the European leaders anyway, with Zelenskyy at the front. After all this, Zelenskyy then went to see the king. This is the coalition of the willing, we're told, needs to exist. So it's all about, essentially, USA switching sides in the war, fundamentally. So the next thing is Zelenskyy travelling to meet King Charles, and the Daily Mail carries the picture of this and calls it the King's show of solidarity. So is this the moment that Keir Starmer, along with Europe, says, all right, it's us now? I guess that's what's happening, is it? America's out.
Trump has made it very clear that he's switched sides. He's made it very clear he's in bed with Putin. I think Trump is a far-right bully billionaire who's Musk is his best friend, who attacked Vance said to Starmer that day, you don't have freedom of speech. The way they attacked Zelenskyy was disgusting. I watched that and I felt so uncomfortable. And the way the pair of them sat there saying, you must say thank you, you must be grateful, how dare you, the finger pointing. It was awful. And I'm not a fan of Zelenskyy.
Let's go, before I ask Christian, let's just remind ourselves, because it all comes back to this meeting between the Ukrainian president and Trump on Friday at the White House, with J.D. Vance in there as well, of course, the vice president. And it was all about talks over the minerals in Ukraine and how US can help Ukraine, etc. And it broke down because of this moment.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
Not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of
war.
millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Oh, it's painful to watch it when you think Zelenskyy might be dead in 6 months. The Russians want to kill him. They've had 6 attempts already, apparently. It was then followed up by a reporter asking Zelenskyy why he doesn't wear a suit.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe something like yours, yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better, I don't know. Yeah. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than, yeah.
Can you imagine sitting there, Zelenskyy, and everyone's attacking you? That was an ambush. It's like a setup.
Christian, what do you think of that?
Yeah, no, it actually makes you quite sick, ill to see. It was bullying. I think, like most Brits, and I'm very glad that we are largely united as a country, and I think politicians from all sides are behaving admirably and working cross-party on this. I think he's a hero, and I think the way he was treated was stomach-churning and disgusting.
And you're sort of on the right, really.
Yeah, but
so
you know, the Conservatives and Labour have worked very constructively on the same side since this war broke out, and I think Labour credit even Boris Johnson's response, and now the right are repaying that tribute to Keir Starmer, who is playing a conventional role. I think it's important that we don't mix up Europe and the European Union. We are obviously still European, and we have to work together. Look, Donald Trump, his way of communicating is not my cup of tea. But on the fundamental that Europe has been piggybacking for free off America's military power and might for decades, he is right about that.
He's not right about that.
And we couldn't defend ourselves without America. That's why we're so desperate for America
Europe
to be involved in this backstop.
Well, let's see. We'll come back to some of it.
Starmer has really come into his own.
Well, I think
this amazing.
Well, yes, although Starmer's meeting with Trump should have stopped that thing happening the next day.
And this is why.
Because Starmer had Trump's ear. Why did Trump then insult Zelenskyy the next day?
Because you can't trust Trump.
Well,
you cannot trust.
Well, he may have a lack
Trump
of focus.
says.
Yeah, Zelenskyy was, of course, ordered to leave the White House.
That's so rude. It's so rude.
And a planned press conference between the two was cancelled. I'll just show you then. Trump then tweeted on social media, his Truth Social, a statement. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House. Much was learnt that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion. At this point, you're thinking, OK, Trump is going to row back a little bit. But then he says, I've determined that Zelenskyy is not ready for peace if America's involved because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace.
But Trump isn't promising peace because he's not guaranteeing security for Ukraine. So Zelenskyy cannot accept this peace deal because there's no guarantee that there's security.
Trump wants the minerals out of Ukraine, and he says that Russia won't invade if there are basically American workers on the ground in Ukraine. That doesn't really fly for Ukraine,
not at all.
I don't think. Christian?
So obviously Britain still wants US troops involved in this backstop, as it's being called, this military guarantee to maintain the peace. However, I think one of the things of substance that Keir Starmer did get from the Oval Office was Donald Trump committing to Article 5 of NATO, which means that if NATO troops are attacked, then all NATO countries then join in and to retaliate. Now, arguably, if British and French troops were alone and involved in maintaining that peace, if any of our troops were attacked, America would have to get involved. And Trump said he would get involved.
But
he's also
we can't really trust what he says.
Can't trust because he also tweeted something about wanting to leave NATO as well. I think Trump has made it very clear.
It's down to the Europeans to defend Europe, fundamentally.
And as it should. I think
as it should. Well, maybe that's right. And it's left Britain, having been on the sidelines of the EU for all the Brexit reasons, we're suddenly a bit central. So have a look at the Prime Minister here.
There are a number of different routes people could go down. One is to ramp up the rhetoric as to how outraged we all are or not. The other is to do what I did, which is roll up my sleeves, pick up the phone, talk to President Trump, talk to President Zelenskyy, then invite President Zelenskyy for an extensive meeting yesterday, warm welcome, and then further pick up the phone to President Macron and President Trump afterwards, because my reaction was we have to bridge this, we have to find a way that we can all work together.
So we are going to have to defend Ukraine. Fundamentally, it's going to be down to us and the French. The Germans are going to have to change their constitution so their troops can move around. You imagine the Germans fighting Russians on the east of Ukraine?
I don't think
it's happened twice, so yes.
Well, exactly. OK, but we need to talk about Trump as well. In the light of his, what might be called appalling behaviour last week, should we take back the visit that we planned where he would come and have a state visit and meet the king? Maybe we should give the slot to Zelenskyy instead. Give us a call with your thoughts. First, your calls on whether Starmer should cancel Donald Trump's second state visit. 020-7862-2222 is the number. Keir Starmer has dismissed calls from a range of politicians to scrap the invitation because he says the action won't be a practical step towards lasting peace in Europe. Now, we asked our viewers online over the weekend what they thought of it, and the majority have said the state visit shouldn't go ahead. So 60-40, quite a lot of people voted there as well. We'll take a look at the moment that Keir Starmer gave the US president a letter from King Charles. So this won't be easy to rescind.
It is my pleasure to bring from His Majesty the King a letter. He sends his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King to you?
Thank you very much. Perhaps you'd like to say what that very important paragraph...
Yes, so this is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented.
But maybe it was a day early. What do you think, Christian?
Well, I think maybe we may have blown our load a bit early with that. But the problem is we can't now rescind it. Obviously, we can't. It would backfire massively. We have dodged those 25% tariffs that have been put on the European Union. We have dodged those by the skin of our teeth. And I think if we hadn't done something like that, the meeting could have gone a lot worse. We could have had a similar blow-up.
Well, you think the letter should never have been given.
I know it sounds silly.
Why do we need to appease this toddler? And when he gave that letter, I was cringing.
Do you think he can read? Some people say he passed it to Keir Starmer.
He needed his glasses, maybe.
Oh, he couldn't read.
Yeah, I think he needed his glasses. But it should never have been given. Why are we normalising this?
Because they're powerful. Because
they're not powerful.
And power equals trade equals jobs.
No, we cannot be normalising this billionaire, far-right bully.
So you would cut off all contact with the USA?
No, I just think I think Starmer's playing it very right. He's trying to, walk this tightrope. It's very, very delicate. I think he's right to appease him, but I think you can rescind this.
OK, we've got loads of calls. Bob is in Lincolnshire. Bob, is it time to say to Trump, we're really sorry, but given what you did to Zelenskyy, you cannot see the king?
No. No, it's not right.
What sort of diplomacy would you be doing, Bob, in this situation?
Well, that's a different question. What you asked was, should we rescind the invitation? Yep. And the answer is no.
OK.
Well, clearly, is it a bribe?
Well, it's a sweetener, isn't it?
Well, they should have thought of that beforehand.
Well, I think basically they're trying to get us into Trump's good books because he's obviously got it in for the EU. Because as he said, the EU was only set up with one aim to shaft America. Is that what he said?
Rival.
Yeah. Bob?
Yeah, but that's entirely beside the point. We're no longer in the EU anyway. Now, if Starmer wants to pull a rabbit out of the hat like a magician and make out he's a big friend of the king, that's another thing entirely. But an invitation should stand. OK, Bob, thank you.
Caroline in Edinburgh, should the invitation stand?
Definitely not, Jeremy. I think the king should be thinking about this. After all, he's a criminal. And after what he done on Friday, that was just bully boy tactics. That was terrible.
Well, the criminal thing was about Stormy Daniels' payments. It's a little bit arcane, and the invitation was given to him knowing that, so we could take that off the table. But you think we should say to him, look, because you humiliated Zelenskyy in the Oval Office, you can't have a state banquet with the king?
Definitely. I mean, I think he should never have been invited in the first place, really. I just think what happened on Friday was just heartbreaking, really. I mean, I sat and watched it and I felt so bad for Zelenskyy. I really did.
I must admit, we've all got the same view, just regardless of the politics of it. Narinder, we all just felt a bit of pain when you see one human being shouting at another.
Yeah, I think when he sat there and everyone's kind of ambushed him, and I'm with Caroline. I think there's not one person in Britain that didn't see that. And it actually gave Zelenskyy more support. I was never the biggest Zelenskyy fan, but I watched that and thought, this man has taken so much. Can you imagine what he's going through? And then to be thrown out. And I agree with Caroline. With this invitation, look, the Indian in me, you don't give someone an invite and then say you're not invited anymore. The invite should never have been given. And now I think it's quite right to either delay it, but why do we give him a second state visit? The cost involved as well. Why are we kind of enabling appeasing a bully?
Because we're a small nation and we have certain levers, and the king is a lever, you know.
That's the question. If you want to rescind this invitation, are you willing to pay higher prices in the shops? Are you willing to risk job losses? Because that would be the implication of a retaliation. It would be the biggest diplomatic snub
Caroline, can you answer that?
In British-American history.
Caroline?
I just think that, the UK are kneeling down to Trump, and it's like he's got us where he wants us, and he thinks we really need him, and maybe we do, but we've got to stand up for ourselves as well. You know, we're a United Kingdom after all. I just feel that what he done on Friday, I mean, there was a bully boy tactics. Even Vance was taking part as well, and it was terrible.
Well,
I mean,
Vance kind of
Zelenskyy
led the
never
charge.
did-
I think Vance. There's a stream of thought which says that Vance is trying to be the next president, so he's got to land big with the MAGA lot, the red hat wearers.
Well, the MAGA lot all thought it was great.
Well, of course, the MAGA lot thought it was great. Okay, Caroline, thank you. So Zelenskyy left the White House meeting and then flew straight to London, where he was greeted more warmly by Keir Starmer. It must have been such a relief for him to come here after all that. And this was what the papers called the hug of hope. And Starmer actually says, look outside, you've got a lot. He's not used to this, Starmer, to have a lot of people outside the end of Downing Street cheering. So a lot of people turned up on the street in Whitehall to give Zelenskyy a boost. And after a day and a half of discussions, he gave some reaction to the British press about what had happened at the White House with Trump. But he's a little bit measured because he doesn't want to make it worse. Have a listen.
It was very important for me that Ukrainian position is heard. The fact that it happened in media, I did not prepare this meeting, and I was in those conditions that were there, and our stance was heard. I didn't want our position to be ambiguous. We must all understand and know each other, understand these or those red lines.
Because what we have to understand that Trump's view is that Ukraine started the war with Russia. So when you've got everything works
and
back
that's
from
mad
that.
in itself.
Yes, it is.
It's like blaming the victim of
it's a strange.
Like, you wore a short skirt, it's your fault.
Yeah,
that's madness in itself. That he's actually blaming Zelenskyy for anything in this. I mean, we can't trust Trump.
Angela's one of many people calling Angela in Durham. Hello, Angela.
Hello, Jeremy. Morning, panel.
Morning.
How do we deal with this Trump invitation now he's lined up for another state visit?
I think that it should go ahead because it was the king that invited him, not the government. So therefore, it must go ahead. Otherwise, the king will lose faith.
Could the king be the one? Because you think if you're King Charles, you know, he's got a heart. He watched that catastrophe on Friday. What about if he pulls it?
I don't think he would be advised to, because I believe that the UK will have to be the bridge of between the US and Europe.
I think you might be right.
You've got to cut it. You've got to take politics, as it were, out of it and see the broader picture.
Okay, Angela, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. After the break, we'll take more calls on this. Should Starmer cancel Trump's second state visit to this morning? We're getting so many calls about Donald Trump's state visit to the UK. Do you think it should be cancelled? Is it something Starmer should do? Starmer now, this is a fascinating situation for the UK because we suddenly are, for the first time in years, a bit central to this. The Germans can't do it.
It makes you feel proud to be British.
A little bit.
I certainly feel very proud to be British.
And it's if you look at the micro thing of the politics here, if you're Kemi Badenoch, she's nowhere because and Farage
irrelevant.
Farage in a difficult
irrelevant.
Farage is in a horrible position now. So this is a very good time for Keir Starmer. We're showing some footage now of Trump with the late Queen Elizabeth during the first state visit in 2019, during his first term. Trump has lost quite a bit of weight since then, hasn't he? He's much bigger there. Then, obviously, the Queen had subsequently died. This is the famous moment where, as Gary Lineker said, the Queen played him offside during the inspection by springing the offside trap. Watch this. As he goes forward, she goes behind. That's immediate VAR on that. So, James in Midlothian, hello.
Good morning.
Well, I don't know what we do. We're either in a very good position or a very bad one.
We're in a very bad one, definitely.
What, because we shouldn't have invited him?
No, he shouldn't be allowed in this country at all. He's dysfunctional, he's dishonest, he's a bully. Vance and him attacking Mr. Zelenskyy, firstly, please say thank you. You've never said thank you. and then the press asking, do you own a suit? That shouldn't be there. It's not etiquette in any kind of meeting. The other thing is, America now want to use Keir Starmer to get mineral rights. And earlier in the programme, I heard somebody saying they want to pay more money for goods. Well, the last war repatriation bill was, I think it was £6 billion we paid in September 2006 back to our friends over the pond. So they're not that kind to us, and they're not that friendly. If he wants mineral rights, Keir Starmer should make a deal. He owns the mineral rights.
Yeah, but hang on, James. We need to be in the real world here. We can't just say to Trump's America, right, take a running jump for 4 years. We're going to wait for the next person. The next person might be J.D. Vance, by the way.
Can I ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Churchill said he would never trust Stalin. But she was right. So did Roosevelt. Now, if I had the choice at this very moment to trust in Trump or Putin, I wouldn't trust any of the two of them. So anything they say will be dysfunctional as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't trust them, any of them.
Brilliant.
Trump,
I was getting excited about a question. I thought, I don't get asked many questions here, and you've just ended up answering it yourself. I'm really disappointed. Thanks, James. Stephen, anyone else wants to ask a question? Yeah, I'm always up for it. Stephen in West Yorkshire, hello.
Hello, Jeremy.
So, is this a good... Are we at the centre of the world suddenly here by accident?
Listen, America are our greatest allies. Without them in the Second World War, we'd have lost. Simple as.
Back then? Yeah, not now.
Now I know.
Yeah.
You've got two opponents there. One is talking sense. Narinder would argue with herself in a mirror.
Well, that's a good quality.
If you want to, I would probably argue with myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
But Stephen, if you're saying America is our greatest ally, firstly, not anymore. Secondly, if you're saying that Trump should still be invited to have tea with the king, you may as well invite Putin. You may as well invite Putin. Whose side are you on, Stephen? Are you on the British side or are you on Putin's side?
I'm on the Western world side. The Western world. We need Donald Trump. He's talking.
Trump is in bed with Putin.
You can let me talk, Narinder. You can let me talk.
No, but she's making a fair point. Trump is in bed with Putin, she says.
No, he's not. He's trying to stop the war, Jennifer.
I think the
well, that's the key issue.
The point is
he just trying to stop the war?
Look, I think Trump is trying to stop the war. My problem is he's trying to stop it at any cost, which is morally wrong. But the point is that Trump is flirting with Putin, right? Let's not just cast him off and go, right, have at it. Let's have the two biggest military superpowers in the world, bar China, although maybe China. Let's have them all in bed together and we'll go off and do our own thing. Sometimes we have to work with people that make us uncomfortable.
Well,
we have an embassy. We have an embassy.
Well, maybe he's right. No, but Narinder, maybe he's right. Maybe if Trump... there's no question, Trump and Putin have got something going on. We don't quite understand it. People in the States get very frustrated. He's clearly in touch. He's in touch with Putin. He won't say how often they speak.
They're on the phone to each other.
They may well be on the phone.
Friends.
I don't know. But listen, isn't that if that's the new world order, does that not work where you've got Russia and the USA as best mates and they just control everything?
That doesn't work for us. That doesn't work for
you don't
Europe.
have any wars breaking out?
Well, no, because he's not guaranteeing the safety of Ukraine.
That's true.
He's actually
Russia will take Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia.
Yeah, of course. So that's why we need to work our backsides off to keep Donald Trump on side.
No,
and
we don't
king
appease bullies.
Is crucial to that.
No.
And also, I'll say this. The special relationship exists regardless of who's in Downing Street and who's in the White House, and we've got to keep that alive.
OK, thank you, Stephen, so much. Good point. Christine in Leicestershire, hi.
Me.
Worrying times, isn't it?
Pardon?
Worrying times.
Very much so. I think that the visit should be cancelled, Jeremy. Okay. He will be a great embarrassment for this country, a great embarrassment for the king. What he did to Zelenskyy, I think it was all planned. They wanted to humiliate him.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, maybe you're right.
It was terrible.
Well, the guy who said to him, "Why don't you ever wear a suit?" There's a couple of interesting things. He's from some very right-wing channel or whatever. So, and he's not a regular reporter. But they also accidentally let in the Russian official news agency. And then someone said, TASS are in here. TASS just basically is the voice of the Kremlin.
Doesn't that tell you everything, then?
Well, and then they said, that we've had to take them out. We didn't realise they were in here.
Oh, my goodness, I'm sorry. There's
Something weird. But, Christine, let's come back to that point. If Trump befriends Putin, won't the world become more peaceful?
No. Gosh, they'll try and divide up Europe.
Yeah, they'll carve us up. That's true.
They're very cunning men, very powerful men, both of them. Trump is a businessman. He wants Canada. He wants Greenland. He's changed the name of the Bay of Mexico. He wanted that piece of Gaza.
Yeah, Trump Gaza.
Christine is completely right. Because
Go on, Christian.
I think you've picked on the key point that Donald Trump is a businessman, but that means that we've got to make him an offer. We're in a new era where where America's allyship is up for grabs. Will it be Europe that gets it? Will it be Russia? We've got to make him an offer, and I think if we've got to bite our tongue, let him meet the king, whom he absolutely adores, could be one of the West's key
you sound really
weapons.
silly, Christian. Honestly, I can't believe you're actually saying that we should appease him, but that's not being practical. We don't need America. We need to get used to this thing that America's our best friend. They're not anymore, and they've made that very clear.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Christine, so much. Michael in Peterborough, hi.
Hello, Jeremy. How are you all?
I'm fine. There's so much to go on here, but we're just basically asking if the king should take back his invitation.
No, I think we should invite Donald Trump and with open arms and respect the fact that he is a major player in this, as is Russia. With the rest of us are just bit part players. If you look at why we're interested in Zelenskyy, there's a lot of countries queuing up to suck up to him and tell him how great he is. That man's going to cause World War III if we're not careful.
Well, yeah, but he didn't call. Hang on, he was invaded, right? His country was invaded.
He was invaded. Absolutely right. He was invaded, but
he shouldn't be fighting.
He's now getting his people killed. People are dying.
Okay,
That's
Michael.
What happens in war.
I'm only pausing because we've got so many calls. We have to stop for our ad break at 10, and I think we'll take some more calls after this. Michael, thanks so much. Should Trump's second state visit be cancelled, or are you happy that we fund another visit for the president with the king to try to get him on side? Oh my goodness, we're getting so many calls about Trump. Everyone. I think more calls at this point in the programme than we've ever had. In a moment, we're taking more of them because we must talk about whether we should cancel the state visit. 0207 862 2222. Then is the government right to let rail fares rise at an above inflation rate? Do let us know. Then a few more stories from the papers and everywhere else, including the private spacecraft which has landed on the moon, basically being ignored by everyone. At 11:30, Storm will ask if prisoners should be released early for good behaviour. This is how you get in touch, with a reminder of today's album artwork question. So, here's the album. Who is the artist? Well, we know that. And what is the album title? Meanwhile, 0207 862 2222 is the phone number. Landlines 16p a minute if you call to the one that's plugged to the wall. If you use the old cellulite, well, it's sometimes a bit dearer, so be careful with that. Okay, social media, loads and loads of views. TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook, YouTube. We have a channel. Musk, marks the spot. Musk's the spot. Thread, Insta. Okay, here's it. Obviously Bowie. We know it's Bowie. Probably 1982 or so. And Modern Love is the answer. Right. We actually had 20 million views on our socials just last month. That's a record for the show. So we return to your calls on President Trump's state visit to the UK. Should it be cancelled after his bullying of Volodymyr Zelenskyy in the White House? And of course, after all of that happened, social media just goes mad. And although people complain about the social media, it has its moments. And we put together some of the you want to see some online clips of versions or memes, as they call them, of what went on in the White House. So the cards, let's look at the cards line here. You ready?
You don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
With the Clinton thing. And then another meme shows Putin watching this exchange in the White House and really enjoying it. Let's hear.
Soldiers, it would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look.
And Putin laughing his head off because it's so much of this is in his interest. Then they do this amazing thing with AI where they take this picture and turn it into a fight. And it looks so realistic, this fight, where you then have Zelenskyy trying to punch him and Trump, all AI, of course. And this was more mainstream. Saturday Night Live, a couple of nights ago in the USA. Let's have a look with the new Trump impersonator.
Yes, hello, everyone. It is I, President and CEO of Gaza Hotel and Casino, Donald Trump. And I'd like to welcome President Zelenskyy here to this incredible trap. It's going to be a big, beautiful trap, and we're going to attack him.
He says we're going to deck him. This next film clip is brilliant. Watch.
Oh, Christine, this is a lovely house.
It's Christineth. Are you stupid or are you deaf?
Christineth! You idiot! You come to our house, you get my wife's name right! What? Christina!
Yeah, then more of the Trump as the baby, more of the sort of versions. Zelenskyy being thrown out the White House. What are we? Oh, that's an obvious one, I suppose.
Murdered. Okay,
this one is a child badly hurt, but being told he's not hurt.
Murdered, buddy.
Here we are. You're not hurt. Don't worry. Then this.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself.
It's all there on social, and this is actually social media is tremendously creative in these moments.
I think they deserve Oscars. I honestly do. That's hilarious. The effort,
Yeah.
the time, and look at the amusement it brings us.
The fight scene, and also gives you insights into it. That Christina mispronouncing my wife's name thing was really clever. Okay, back to Angela on Merseyside. What do you think, Angela?
Well, you can see how they're treating it, can't you? Just look at what they're doing. A reality show. And that's exactly what they created last Friday.
So that
a
you think
reality
Trump
show.
is, well, Trump did say this will make really great television.
He loves
and
That's right.
people said,
It's all planned.
Yeah, what?
All planned.
So you think that line where someone says, "Welcome to a beautiful trap," it was a trap for Zelenskyy, was it?
Yeah. And you know, at the minute, I've got to tell you something. Start to watch. Trump now is not that much on his own. He's either got Vance with him, or he's got Musk.
Yep.
Because at the minute, all they're doing at the minute is using him as a mouthpiece. And all the things he's getting, like going to the Super Bowl, and now you're giving him the letter, that's all for him, right?
Would you cancel the King's visit?
You know what I would do? I mean, I cringed when it happened. I've got to tell you, I thought, good God, what have you done?
Okay,
if there isn't a date on that letter, well, we have to basically put it on the back burner with the date at the minute.
May not work that. I did wonder about. Thank you. I wondered about
My
that.
understanding is there isn't a set date,
No.
so we could delay it until things cool down a bit.
Yeah, well,
Might
it's
be an
certainly not
option.
going to be next week, is it? I wonder whether the King's been about a bit. You know, he's experienced. He's got views. He
has.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a view on this. You know.
Well,
I think he's made it clear that he is on the side of Ukraine.
I think he spoke out when they invaded in 2014.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking he may have a view on whether he wants to give Trump a good night out.
I think the King knows what his patriotic duty is.
Andrew in Hertfordshire, well, you think it's different. Yeah, Andrew in Hertfordshire, hi.
Hello, good morning.
Should we go back? Should we go back to Trump and say, look, because of your behaviour on Friday, you cannot see the King?
Absolutely not. I think what you should all do is look at the whole interview in the White House. Everything had been agreed behind the scenes, and then Zelenskyy entered into this debate about what he wanted.
Oh, it was his fault. I didn't see. I saw it start with J.D. Vance.
Zelenskyy was also seen by a senator who's done a lot of work in Ukraine the morning before he was due to see Trump, and he said to him, just go in there, be grateful, say thank you, come out, we sign the documents, the war ends. It's simple. That's
Andrew,
all
it's
he had
actually
to
not
do.
that. Andrew, it's actually not that simple because Zelensky can't agree to something where the security is not guaranteed. Secondly, he had to just go in there and be grateful. He's always been thankful. And thirdly, Trump had only just called him a dictator the week before. So what do you expect him to do? Roll over and take all of that? Why should he?
Absolutely not. As soon as the Americans go into Ukraine and start extracting all these minerals, etc., Russia are going to go nowhere near it. There's going to be American workers. What it does, it just stops the war. All these young men from Russia and Ukraine just go home to their families.
What if, Andrew, what if Putin and Trump speak and Trump says, look, you can have Donbass, just don't come near our workers? And they basically divvy up Ukraine between them.
I can't see that happening, really.
Can't see it happening?
I think Ukraine are just going to have to concede some territory here. But the good thing for Ukraine is the war stops. All these young men go home.
And you trust Putin and you trust Putin.
But I don't trust him, no.
Right, there you go. You answered your question.
To rearm and strengthen all our forces as well.
Right.
But I think the most important thing is everyone goes home, gets on with their life.
Andrew, thanks so much. We've got, I think, a protest inside the UK. Let's have a look at this. This is the last time Trump came. So this was, I mean, there we go. This is the 2019 visit where famously the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, allowed them to fly a Trump-shaped blimp of a child in a nappy. Trump then arrives, sits in the plane and tweets, Sadiq Khan is a stone-cold loser, while he's sitting in the plane. So I don't know whether it might be even worse this time.
Sadiq Khan's invited him for a curry now. He says when he comes, we'll take him for a curry at Brick Lane.
Let's see. I don't think he's going to want to go. Ian in Blackpool, should we cancel the King's state visit?
I think we definitely should. I mean, I've come at this with different angles over the last few days, and I keep coming back to the same thing. How would we as a nation look to the Ukrainian people and other democracies around the world if we allow Trump to visit? I mean, we've had state visits to evil leaders in the past, but Charles was not the monarch then. And I don't think we should kowtow to any further dictator, whether they actually live in the Kremlin or the White House.
That's a good point. I'm just trying to think who we've had over a state visit who turned out later to be evil, or whom we knew was Ceausescu. We must have had
President Xi in 2014-15. David Cameron took him to the pub in Oxfordshire.
Yeah,
that was quite big. And actually, I was going to make this point because we're talking a lot about America. Over the last few months, Keir Starmer, Rachel Reeves, and Ed Miliband have all been cap in hand to China, a country actively carrying out a genocide of its Muslim population in the Uyghur era, trampling on the human rights of those in Hong Kong. And yet we're going and begging for investment opportunities.
Well,
Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage about that?
Well, what about Gaza then? You're arming Israel, so you could say you've got nothing to say about that. So therefore, you could argue that actually, what are we doing about Gaza?
Well, maybe all of this stuff is just practical. It's all, as they say, countries don't have friends; they just have interests.
Diplomacy isn't about grandstanding. It's about sometimes pinching your nose and engaging in dialogue with people that
but then we also
may not be perfect, but you need to get along with.
Ian in Blackpool, thank you. Sonia in Berkshire, hi.
Yeah, hello. I just want to say, I definitely think that the King, if he invited Trump, nobody should go back against that. UK definitely needs US support. They're nothing without the US. And Trump knows it. He's playing the cards, even with Zelensky. He said, we have the cards, you don't have any. With Narinder on the panel, I mean, I share the same last name, Kaur, but yes, I share your views on Gaza, 100%. But with this, I don't agree with you about Trump, because there are a lot of things about Trump I don't like. For example, certain comments he's made on Gaza. But in this case, he's 100% correct. Zelensky is a fool, and somebody said he wasn't. He's a fool. Remember, he was a comedian who danced naked with balloons. He isn't.
But why is he? Okay, he was a comedian.
Trump is a felon. How can you stand up for Trump? For goodness sakes, he's a misogynist.
Why is he a fool? Though, if Sonia, he's president of a country that got invaded. What's he done wrong?
No. No. People need to go back and look at the history. Okay, in 2014, the CIA caused a democratically elected leader of Ukraine to fall, and they placed this puppet leader just so they can go against Russia. It's all about bringing Russia
How
down.
did Ukraine
NATO
go
on the
against
borders.
Russia?
They already listen. It's about NATO.
Christian's
Russia.
got his head in his hands.
That's where it all,
Christian.
That's where it all. No, that's where it all starts.
I mean, this is just.
Hang on, sorry, you can't just filibuster, Christian. Stop it. Let him talk.
These are Kremlin talking points. NATO is a defensive organisation, and actually, Putin's invasion of Ukraine has expanded NATO more than it otherwise would have expanded. Zelenskyy was democratically elected. He's a hero, and I think your views are downright.
Go on, Sonia.
Gorbachev made a deal that NATO would not expand, but they broke that deal. The Clintons were all involved. They broke that deal,
we've heard,
and they went and they want to attack Russia. Listen to Professor Maisheimer. Listen to Professor Jeffrey Sachs.
Thank you, Sonia.
This is not about left and right.
This is like listening to sort of Twitter. Thank you. Kate in Derbyshire, hi.
Hi, Jeremy.
Oof.
Hi.
Right.
My argument is a more... Sorry?
No, sorry, I'm just recovering from the last call. There was just so much in it.
Got my surname.
I know. It's a complicated issue. Mine's more pragmatic. I think on that day you will see a massive demonstration. They're already planning the demonstration.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. As I said, they're already planning it. And I think it's different than when he came to see the Queen. I think we had more respect for the Queen in lots of ways. But I think what you'll get on that day is a demonstration, for anti-Trump demonstration. But you'll also get the far right coming out, the Tommy Robertsons in this world. And you'll have a lot of violence on that day. It will be a very aggressive demonstration. That doesn't look good in the rest of the world.
I don't know where the far right stand on this because they're quite anti-Russia as it happens.
They're very confused, I think,
they've got a real problem with this one, yeah. So they may not, I wonder whether it might damage the king. That's all.
Exactly. It will damage the image that we have, and it will go all over the world. Don't forget. The other thing is Canada.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
That's fine, Kate. We listen to you. Thank you so much. Tony in Suffolk. Hi.
Hi there. Morning. Great show. I'm loving this.
Bless you.
Basically, we should have a vote. What's going on now? Trump. We cannot cancel Trump. Trump needs to come to this country. And like the last caller said, all this arguing, some are going to protest and everything. Well, they're fools. I mean, if we're going to have a war now, which we could now be going into World War III, if after this vote, the people who have voted for, who, Zelenskyy and all want to keep this going, I want all them put on the front line. And all us ones who have backed Trump and behind it, we can sit there and laugh at him. Because without Trump, he's our Gruffalo. We've got nothing.
But yeah, he's our... Someone else said it's like Trump is like a horse in a hospital. You just don't know how to deal with it. But so now he's the Gruffalo. But Tony, the thing, it's all very well being rude about Zelenskyy, as some other people have. In the end, his country got invaded. Now, he might fight to the last man and be justified in doing that, might he not? We had to face up to the same thing 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah, I understand, but we haven't got the army no more. What happens when China goes into Taiwan? What happens when
that's
Argentina
coming.
take the Falklands back? We've got nothing to defend ourselves.
God, the Falklands, that'll be... God, blimey, I hadn't even thought that might happen. You're right. The Taiwan is obviously on its way, isn't it? Tony, thank you. Wow, what a busy old world. It's great to be able to talk about it with you.